Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe, and I wanted to do a quick video and a shout out to Minty's Comedic Arts. Minty is a great YouTuber I've watched for a long time now, who does mainly top 10 type videos where he talks about certain films and behind the scenes things that happened or interesting facts and tidbits. Great channel, so shout out to you, Mark, over at Minty's Comedic Arts. He sort of inspired me to do this video, even though my uh, presentation has always been obviously very low tech, and I just sit here and chat with you like I'm a buddy on a couch, which is sort of what I've always went for. I realized I never really spoke about this film at too much length, and I really wanted to talk about it, and that's Falling Down with Michael Douglas. So this is one of my favorite films. I know I don't talk about it much. It's probably in my top 20. Um, Definitely my favorite Michael Douglas film, and probably my second or third favorite Joel Schumacher film because he, I think, directed it. Obviously, he did The Lost Boys, and he also did 8 Millimeter, which might be hand in hand with this for me. I'm not sure which one I like better. Maybe this. I'm not sure. So this film, if you haven't seen it, and it's sort of a classic. So at this point, you most likely caught this on TV at one point in your life, but it stars Michael Douglas, who is a defense military like scientist. I guess he develops like military weaponry, and he's caught in traffic, and that's how the beginning of the movie starts. He's caught in traffic. Everything's overly loud and noisy. There's a kid, I think, in the front, like in front of him, like acting obnoxious. He's sweating. His air conditioner in his car won't work. There's a fly buzzing around him. Like it's just a barrage of like sensory overload. And he just flips out, gets out of the car in the middle of traffic, and walks off. And people are like, "Where are you going? You can't just leave your car." And he just doesn't give a shit. And I don't know about you, but not so much anymore since now I live much closer to my job. But prior, when I lived, it's really about 20 to 30 minutes away, but with traffic, it was usually 45 minutes to an hour and 10. I felt like this all the time. I constantly was angry. I'd get to work in like a rage, like wanting to kill someone. I was so mad that, people weren't moving or they were cutting you off or just acting crazy. Where now a 15-minute ride on a long day to work is just perfect for me. So this movie really encapsulates all the daily annoyances from most people's lives, I would say, personified into Michael Douglas. Um, he ends up getting out of his car and he walks off, and now his adventure begins, and he is determined to go to his ex-wife's house and see his daughter for her birthday, and on the way pick her up some kind of a gift. He goes to a little like corner store for change to use the phone to call his daughter, and the daughter's small, and the gentleman behind the counter is a South Korean guy, or I guess a Korean guy, and he won't give him change for $1. He said, "No, you have to buy something." So he's like kind of annoyed now because the guy won't like even budge a little bit. He goes in, he's like, "All right, let me buy this whatever for 25 cents so I have enough, or 50 cents so I have enough for the phone." And the guy goes, "Oh, that's 75 cents." And he goes, "But I need enough for the phone. What can I buy that you have enough for the phone call?" And because, the payphone was 50 cents. I don't know, and he's like very just curt and nasty. And Michael Douglas flips out, breaks the store with a bat, just destroys everything. There's another part where he's walking through this place, and it ends up being like a gangland territory, and these Hispanic gang members are trying to shake him down for his briefcase, and he freaks out, beats the shit out of them, and steals their knife. They actually do come back later. You do encounter them later in the film again. He just he does. This sounds kind of messed up because what he does is so over the top and violent in ways, but I think everyone has felt like this at some point where they just have kind of had enough and everything's going wrong, and they're not being treated respectfully or kind in any way, and just everyone is sort of picking, and he just that's it. He's had enough. He goes to a military surplus store at one point and encounters a guy who's a neo-Nazi. I think that's probably the best term I would use. And the guy thinks that he's doing what he's doing because he's also like him. You and me, we're the same. And he starts making these derogatory terms towards these gay guys that are in there. He starts talking about blacks and Hispanics and whatever else. And then he brings them down to the basement, the guy, and he has all this Nazi paraphernalia and tries to say like we're brothers and we're this and we're that, and then they go at it because Michael Douglas doesn't care what race you are. It seems he just is pissed off at everyone, and anyone who is mistreating him, he's flipping out on. Um, the weird part about the film is even though he's a violent person and he's angry and he's over the edge, he's also kind of kind in a way. You can see a kindness in his character. He said this is one of his favorite films that he's done, which shows because he was very good in it. I think he was excellent in this movie. It just everyone feels this way at some point, and I think he really captured that well. Excuse me. It also stars Robert Duvall and the love interest from Total Recall. Those two are cops, and Robert Duvall's about to retire and sort of gets wrapped up with the woman who are now chasing Michael Douglas, who's on this slight rampage as he goes through the bad neighborhoods, I guess, or of South Central LA, and that's where the film takes place. As I said, he was working for the Department of Defense, and his license plate at the beginning of the film says Defense. So, for a slight bit of information here, when years ago my parents for Christmas one year ordered me a custom license plate for my car, and it said Defense because of this film. I no longer have it. I think it's like $50 or $70 a year to have a custom plate here in New York. So I did end up giving it up. I don't know what, I think you have to send the plates back. So I think I sent them back. And um, I've looked and someone else does have it now, probably some kind of hockey fan or something. But there was one guy at work who saw it that I was friendly with, and he was like, "Do you work for the Department of Defense, or maybe go around South Central LA?" And I was like, "Oh, you know the movie." But most people didn't get the reference. I think they just thought I was some kind of sports fan. Um, Michael Douglas is sort of an anti-hero in this movie. He's an to me an every guy. This is how most people feel, but he's also taking it too far and acting out in ways he shouldn't. So that's kind of it. I mean, by the end of the film, it's sort of a sad ending, I guess, without spoiling too much. Sort of a sad ending, and you feel bad for the guy. You do. I think his life probably didn't turn out the way he wanted it to, and he's just a pissed off, pent up guy who deals with crap on every day, and don't we all? So if you haven't seen it, check out Falling Down. There's many quotable lines, many fun and funny scenes, even though some of them aren't meant to be funny. To me, they are, especially when he acts out and acts, crazy sorts certain people. He goes into a McDonald's type place called, is it Whammy Burger? And he just freaks out about, breakfast not being served 2 minutes after breakfast is over. His sandwich is like all gross and soggy when he gets it, so he's like pissed off. And there's like a lot of funny quotable things he does. He's very likable, even though he's like a supposed to be a bad person. I don't necessarily see him as bad. I see him as a man with anger issues that has just really had enough. Check out Falling Down. Thanks guys for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.